About a half hour ago, she has what the Marine Corps is saying about this tragic loss. Kelly.
That's right, and the Marine Corps is saying that it notified all five families of those fallen Marines last night and this morning. So certainly this is devastating news for those families as well as for the entire military community. Here's some of what we heard during a news conference a short time ago.
Since our 5 air crew of Marine Heavy Helicopter Squadron 361 were located, their fellow Marines have remained by their side as Marines do and took shifts throughout the night at the mishap site, keeping watch over our fallen despite the hazardous weather conditions.
And that was Colonel James Ford, 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing Operations Officer, speaking to reporters in Pine Valley. He did not take any questions. He says recovery efforts continue right now by ground. The conditions are cold, windy, and wet. The rough terrain is also a challenge. Now, the Marine Corps is working to recover the remains of the Marines and also the helicopter. You can imagine this is an extensive and delicate process. The helicopter, a CH-53E Super Stallion. An investigation is underway to find out exactly why it crashed. At this point, we don't know. We do know the weather conditions were rough Tuesday night. A storm was rolling through as the aircraft was on its way back to MCAS Miramar from Nevada. The military says the crew was taking part in a routine training flight. Now, this isn't the first crash involving the CH-53E aircraft. 4 Marines were killed in El Centro during a routine training mission in 2018, and 12 Marines died in 2016 when the same helicopters collided during a nighttime training exercise off the coast of Oahu in Hawaii. Now, I spoke to Timothy Loringer, a U.S. Marine Corps veteran who spent years as an aircraft mechanic. He is now an attorney specializing that is in military aviation, and he says even though Marines must train in dangerous and difficult situations, there are some circumstances that are just too much.
There are limits. You know, the aircraft has limits. It cannot operate in all weather conditions because weather can be very unforgiving. Helicopters are particularly prone to icing situations. So if because of rain and snow, ice was accumulating on the rotor blades of the helicopter, that interferes with the aircraft's ability to maintain lift, and that can lead to a crash.
And again, we don't know exactly what caused the crash. He says, of course, they'll be looking at that particular helicopter for any possible mechanical failures. So it will be a while before this investigation is over. So back out here live, I'm told the names of those fallen Marines will be released tomorrow. Meanwhile, condolences are pouring in for those Marines. We're hearing from people from all over the country, including President Biden and also Governor Gavin Newsom. Heather and Carlo.
And Kelly, our hearts ache and go out to those families. They've been through so much in the past couple of days.
Absolutely. And, you know, the Marine veteran I just spoke to, he says it's particularly difficult when something like this happens during a training exercise. He says, you know, you expect the kind of risk that's involved if you go overseas or if you're in a combat situation. But he says these training exercises and losing someone, it's really hard. So he says another factor of this investigation is the decision-making process. You know, was it reasonable to send these Marines out in the weather conditions that we saw on Tuesday? So we're just going to have to see what comes out in this investigation.